This is Texans TV. Texans Extra Points is sponsored by BHP and by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans, and by your Houston area Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
We are ready to rock in Houston. Touchdown, Houston!
Are you kidding? What a catch! Oh, baby!
Welcome one, welcome all. This is Texans Extra Points, and we are very, very happy that you're with us. My name's Drew Dougherty. I'm your host with my good friend and yours, John Harris, team analyst, the radio sideline reporter, and a good dude all around. I like the bespectacled look.
Like that?
You and I have a lot to discuss, a lot to fix, a lot to solve. So let's get ready for that. But first, let's get some news of the week out of the way. It's quick hits, and the Texans did not practice on Wednesday. A few players were under the weather. None were positive for COVID, however. So the team had to jiggle things up and do it a little differently.
We've got a few players that are under the weather right now, a little sick, and our medical team just felt like it'd be best for us to, for cautionary reason, just to keep them home, and then we'll be back business as usual tomorrow.
And after missing Sunday's game as a healthy scratch, Justin Reid, the safety, is back, and he will play against the Colts.
We try not to live in the past too much. I'm sure all that has been gone over. I won't go over it anymore. Justin will be out at practice today. I expect him to play and play well this week.
And just who are these Indianapolis Colts? Well, they're coming off a loss. They're 6-6, and they've got one of the preeminent offensive weapons in the game in running back Jonathan Taylor, plus a nasty defense with defensive lineman DeForest Buckner and Darius Leonard, a linebacker they call the Maniac.
They've been playing very, very good team defense, the way you want to play team defense. They're playing 11-on-11 defense all the time. And you got to make sure you take care of the ball more so, because this team right here, whether it's causing a fumble or getting a takeaway in the pass game, they've been as good as anybody in the league this year. As a matter of fact, they're the best in the league right now at doing that.
Okay, that's some of the news of the week here in Texans land. We got John Harris with us. And John, the Texans go up 14-3 last Sunday. They kick off. The defense gets a 3-and-out. They get the ball back, and they go ice cold. They get 60 yards the rest of the way with 30 plays to do so. After the half, this team is just not playing that well offensively, and this is something that's been going on almost all season long.
Yeah, I thought at Tennessee, once they had a decent first half, put 12 points up on the board, I thought, look, when they come out in the second half, maybe there'll be something there. But it was so bad weather-wise that I thought, okay, it was the weather in the second half. That's why they really couldn't move the ball. But then the first half against the Jets, the one thing to me that was sort of a mystery, the fact that it didn't come back in the second half, was the thought of throwing the ball down the field, the explosives. They took 2 shots in the first half. The first one went to Nico, couldn't quite get it even though he had a step. Yeah. The second one went to Brandon Cooks and was a touchdown. They didn't get back to any explosive plays in the second half. And I say that, yeah, I know anything 20-plus yards is an explosive play, and had one with Tyrod Taylor, that was it. But they didn't push the ball down the field with any throwing attempts against a secondary that was giving up 282 yards per game. So that, to me, going and finding an explosive play to maybe, let the dam break, if you will. And I think about the Colts. Last time we faced the Colts had struggled for 5-6 weeks offensively. Jonathan Taylor hit that long run against us, and from that point forward, they've done nothing but produce explosives, play in and play out. Even their regular plays are 5-6 yards a pop, but they're getting explosive plays on top of that. That's the one thing this offense needs to get back to, is challenging down the field a little bit. Colts secondary is much better than the Jets, but you still got to throw the ball down the field.
A couple of other young guys on offense you want to see more of, in my opinion. Nico Collins, who you mentioned a moment ago, Brevin Jordan, tight end. Let's see what they can do catching the ball. Let's see the ball go to him a little bit more. You in agreement?
Absolutely. And again, it goes back to your thought of, they gave up some sacks last week. They saw a little bit more blitz zero, something they struggled with against Miami. They did get the ball to Brevin for a touchdown off of that blitz zero. You might see that in a little bit. But that's what they were able to do against blitz zero with Brevin Jordan in the game. Nico Collins is a great one-on-one matchup because he can go over a DB to get the football. I think there's some opportunities there for sure.
Well, you heard him tease it a moment ago. He's talking about a Telestrator. So John Harris, my guy to my left, talked a little bit more about that touchdown that Brevin Jordan caught last week. Check it out.
Welcome to Texans Telestrator presented by BMW. I'm John Harris. And a few weeks ago against Miami, one of the biggest issues the Texans had in that game offensively was facing zero blitz. Well, against the New York Jets, Texans found some answers, and they did it with the help of a rookie, Brevin Jordan. So let's take a look here at our Surface, presented by Microsoft, how the Texans got this touchdown here to Brevin Jordan, who is right there, and they beat the blitz. Now, all 7 of these Jets right here, they're all coming. This is 3rd and goal from the 13-yard line. Not too many plays in the playbook for third and goal at the 13. Now, you see these guys, and we'll get to these guys in a second, but they back off. And the thought being, look, let them catch it in front. We come up and make a tackle. That didn't really work here, but you'll see what happens. Going to run a little route here where Danny's going to dart out to the flat. Nico's going to run the glance route right here. And Brev's just going to come in here and circle up and just get to an open spot. The route is pretty simple, but what the Texans wanted out of this was for these 3 Jets players to come up and play the bunch tight, like come up and play press man, because then you get a little bit of a rub concept. Well, they didn't really get that because they didn't need it. There's enough space for these guys to get their routes. You see Brev just circles up right here. Tyrod's going to dot him, and then Pinnock falls down. But at the 5-yard line, Brev turns, got to get in the end zone, gets there, touchdown, way to go. Now, let's take a look at the protection here. In fact, let's go to the end zone view. There we go. Now, here's our 7 guys. 1, Titus is hiding another. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Texans. 7 against 6 is not a fair fight. However, the 7th guy right here is Ashton Davis, the safety. Tyrod Taylor's got to take care of him, meaning throw the ball before he gets there. So you'll see here they bring everybody, and David Johnson goes and gets C.J. Mosley. They get enough of everybody else, and Tyrod is like, I got to get rid of it. Luckily, Brev is making that cut. He can flip it to him, and then number 9 gets in the end zone. That is how you execute against zero blitz. That's how you get it done on 3rd down, and a rookie get in the end zone. That's kind of nice.
Salute to Service Day at NRG Stadium. The Texans and the New York Jets. The Jets are out of the tunnel. The Texans getting ready to be introduced to the crowd here at NRG Stadium.
Yes, sir. There you go, 5. There you go, 5. Come on. Come on. Come on. Yes, sir.
Here's Taylor getting the snap, throws, Collins with the catch, and he dives across the 40, close to the marker. They're going to mark him short, just shy of the 42-yard line.
Got to believe that David Culley and the staff going to think about rolling the dice here early.
It's 4th and short at the Houston 42-yard line opening drive of this game. Handoff, Rex looking for a hole, has one, 45 over left guard, 50 and down across the 49-yard line of the Jets. The drive stays alive.
Yes, sir. Count it!
Here's Taylor getting the snap, rolls to the right side, throws right sideline, hits Nico up the sideline, 35, and knocked down inside the 30 at the 29-yard line by Mosley. 1st down, Texans. Nico with a couple of nice catches early in this one. Fakes the give, he's in trouble, throws it, it's tipped, and it's picked off, and off to the races. The defensive lineman across the 45-40 and out of bounds in Houston territory at about the 37-yard line.
Let's rock. Let's rock.
3rd and goal at the 4 with Wilson in the gun, 1 back Johnson.
This will be huge if the Texans can just hold to a field goal attempt here.
And he's going to be sacked. Jacob Martin gets him back at the 16-yard line.
Come on! Come on! Ah! Let's go, baby!
few good moments from last week's game against the Jets here at NRG Stadium. Drew Dougherty, John Harris on Texans Extra Points coming at you from the Ford Studios. We're happy that you're with us. And John, let's talk about this defense. Justin Reid's back. Your secondary for the last few games has actually played okay. And you only give up 109 yards passing to Wilson and the Jets. Now you insert your best player there in your secondary, you reinsert him in Justin Reid. How much does his return, you think, impact things in a positive way?
Oh, I think it impacts it a great deal, having him back there. I think especially in the run game. And I think when you think of a safety, you're like, oh, coverage, pass coverage. I think in the run game is really where you get a lot of good things, in particular from Eric Murray and from Justin Reid. Those two have really come up and made some plays in the run game and really helped that unit up front, and it needs it. That run defense, I don't want to say it got shredded against the Jets, but the Jets, one of the worst run games.
Did what they wanted.
Yeah. And that can't happen. And now you're facing one of the best run games and one of the best running backs, arguably the best healthy non-quarterback in the league. Because when he's healthy, Derrick Henry is that guy, but Jonathan Taylor is that guy. Unfortunately, we got to face each guy 4 times a year. But they're going to need as much help as possible, and that's where I think a guy like Justin Reid, guys like Eric Murray, those two safeties coming up and helping against that run, those two are very valuable in that respect.
You know, kind of in the same vein as what we were talking about the previous segment with some of these young guys wanting to get a look at them. How about the young guys on defense that you're really kind of inquisitive about? You got Jonathan Grenard, you got Roy Lopez up front specifically. What more you want to see from those guys? Who else are you keeping an eye on these final 6 of the 2021 season?
Well, I know those guys, Roy Lopez being a rookie, I always think of the rookies at that point. I mean, Jonathan Grenard's a young guy as well. But I think of the rookies. And Garrett Wallow, I'd like to see get on the field. He's done some good things in special teams. And he is a smart, instinctive guy, whether it's this week or not. His linebackers have played very, very well. I don't know how at any point you take any of them off the field because Zach Cunningham has kind of found his level again. And Kamu Grugier-Hill might be the defensive MVP of this team this year with the way that he has played. When Neville Hewitt comes in, he had, I think, 9 tackles when he was playing in the Tennessee game on like 26 snaps. So I don't know which linebacker it's at the expense of, but I wouldn't mind seeing Garrett Wallow get in the mix as well. One of the last rookies they drafted with Garrett Wallow in the 5th round and Roy Lopez in the 6th.
Yeah, and Zach Cunningham, you throw him in. He's actually played really well over the last month. And Kamu Grugier-Hill is a really interesting one because you knew when he signed with the Texans, this guy can play special teams and really help you out there. He won a Super Bowl ring with the Eagles. He's been a captain on special teams up in Philadelphia. But I don't think anybody really saw what he was going to be able to do defensively. But if you go back to the spring, he was saying, hey, I can't wait to play in this defense because it gives me the freedom to run sideline to sideline, which is something I can do. He has been a nice fit in this Lovie Smith scheme.
Even when he's not making a play that you see, he's making a play you don't see. And a great example of that, the Jets tried to run an outside zone with the lead blocker. He went and took out the lead blocker so that the other linebackers at Cunningham could go make a tackle for no gain. And nobody saw. I just happened to be in the line of sight so I could see it. And I saw him go low basically on a blocker to take him out, and that allowed Cunningham to come in behind him and make a play. And I thought, that's not a stat for Kamu, but that's him making that play. So it's the plays you see, but it's also the plays you're not seeing as well that he's making to help this defense.
You want to see some trivia?
Let's do it.
He loves trivia. Okay,
I love it.
Of everyone in Texans history who's caught 50 passes or more, who's got the longest yards per catch on average? We'll have that answer later on at Texans Extra Points. Don't go anywhere.
McAfee gets the snap on target. Brayman blocks it. It's loose inside the 10. Brayman picks it up at the 5. Brayman to the goal line. Touchdown, Houston! Brian Brayman for 6.
Anytime you can get Brian Brayman highlights on Texans Extra Points, you do it. So, since he had a blocked punt return for a touchdown in 2012, a day that the Texans actually clinched their 2nd straight AFC South title, when he does that, we're going to put him in the show because it's Brian Brayman. We love Brian Brayman. He's awesome. And you're awesome too, John Harris. Thank you for being with us here on. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Jonathan Taylor. We've talked a little bit about him more. We talked a little bit about him before. We need to talk a little bit more about him. I always have the urge to call him Jonathan Taylor Thomas, like the little kid from Home Improvement, but he's much better than that guy. No offense, JTT. Jonathan Taylor has punished this team, and it seems like He and Darius Leonard inch higher and higher and higher and closer to T.Y. Hilton as far as being Colts who torment the Texans.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's going to happen for a long time. With Jonathan Taylor, I mean, you're talking about a guy that's 215, 220 pounds with 4.38 speed, and he's running behind one of the better offensive lines in the league.
Yeah.
And you add on top of the fact that Frank Reich and the offensive scheme fits Taylor, and you think, okay, this guy's a masher. This guy needs pounds. It's not really that. The Colts do a great job of putting 11 personnel, a tight end and a back, up being Taylor, and then spreading those guys out. So now the defense has a decision to make. Are you going to spread out with all those wide receivers, or are you going to bunch in to stop Taylor? Well, if you bunch in to stop Taylor, Wentz is just going to flip it out to a receiver, and that's a quick 5 to 7 yards. You're just giving up. Well, okay, we got to cover all the receivers, so then you widen out, and now you're going to have 5 guys in the box, a hat for every hat, and you give the ball to 2.8, who's as explosive as it gets in the run game, and boy, it's trouble.
Yeah.
Because it's one wrong move by a defensive lineman, it's one bad read by a linebacker, and Taylor's out the gate into the house. So he's taking advantage of all those things, and he's gotten better. His vision's gotten better. What he's seeing, how he's getting there, how he's getting to and through a hole, those things are all really, really improved for him. And oh, by the way, if you do get everybody to the ball, you then have to tackle him.
Yeah.
And like I said, at 220 pounds plus, that's not the easiest thing in the world.
And his quarterback has played well. Carson Wentz is, he's got a weapon now too, or has weapons, across the field. Like you mentioned, you get T.Y. Hilton, who he's coming back to NRG Stadium. All right, we'll see you, T.Y. Darius Leonard, though, goodness gracious. I mean, he keeps punching the ball loose time and time again. He had another forced fumble last week. He had one against the Texans this year, one last year to basically close out the game when you're about to maybe tie it up, maybe take a lead. So Darius Leonard, where has he evolved from? Because he came into the league and was kind of gangbusters, to use that old-timey term.
Well, you called him his common moniker, which is the Maniac.
That's their nickname for him. We're not calling him.
That's his nickname for him. So he came up with it. He came into the league and, hey, I'm the Maniac. And you think, okay, a guy named the Maniac, he's just going to be all over the field. He's known his game has been so much more refined. It's almost like a fine wine now. It's not, well, he's just going to go light everybody up.
Controlled violence, yeah.
Yes, much more. Like, he's seeing things with like super X-ray vision, it feels like, because he's not healthy. That ankle's a big problem. But he is seeing things happen, and the way that he punches the ball out, your ball security is off, you're toast.
Remind you how tough these guys are playing through that ankle injury and doing what he's doing and excelling the way he is. All right, we got to get into players to watch, Texans to watch against the Colts. You're going with the left tackle. Why is Titus Howard your Texan to watch, John?
Well, he's going to face some guys on the outside, Kwity Paye, Kamiko Toure, some guys that can get after it. And Titus has only been out there for a week, so he's going to see some more accomplished edge guys. He saw more powerful guys with the Jets. He's going to see a combination of speed to power this week against the Colts, and that's a little different than what he saw in his second start. So he's going to be a big factor for this offensive line.
I'm going to go Zach Cunningham because of the test that Jonathan Taylor is going to be for the Texans. You need to bring him down. You need to limit the damage he's going to do because if he's running the ball and carrying the ball a lot, it's taking things out of your offense's hands, making it a lot tougher for Tyrod Taylor and the crew. As far as you, the fan, you chimed in on Twitter, and Eric Murray is your Texan to watch. I guess it's because you're so used to seeing T.Y. Hilton do what he's done here, so don't give up the big play to T.Y., number 13. All right, we're going to be back with the Texans trivia answer plus keys to a victory, so don't you move a muscle. Texans Extra Points is coming back in a flash.
Texans Extra Points has been sponsored by BHP, by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans, and by Cigna, together all the way.
The trivia question earlier was, of all the Texans who caught 50 career passes or more, which one had the most yards per catch? And if you said Andre, you're right, right?
Yes. Johnson?
Andre Davis. Andre,
yes.
Apostrophe over the E, Davis. And if you like Andre Davis or want to know more about Andre Davis, listen up on HoustonTexans.com. Did a podcast of Where Are They Now? He's doing fantastic things in the great state of Delaware.
Ooh.
Delaware, a little Wayne's World for you. Okay, keys to a victory. We got to get the Ticketmaster keys to a victory. We're old. We can make these Wayne's World jokes.
I guess we
That's
can.
another thing to check out, kids. Wayne's World, solid movie. But it's neither here nor there. Let's get into keys to a victory. What two things must the Texans do for a win?
Well, I think offensively, it's got to be some explosives. You got to be able to create one-play drives or a three-play drive. One of them get in the end zone. You got to be able to do that. And us defensively, of course, obviously 28 is such a big factor. You just got to keep him from getting runway. And if you can do that, being gap disciplined, tackling him, not allowing him yards after contact, and just slowing him down in any way, shape, or form that you can, the better off you'll be defensively.
Okay, you're going to one thing, explosion, which the Texans have not just been able. They've not been able to do it at all this year. I'm going to match you with one thing they haven't been able to do is run it. You got to get the ball on the ground and keep it out of their hands, because when you're doing that, you're letting your defense tee off. You're letting your playmakers make some plays.
Yep.
Get some takeaways, because look at it. I do this nerdy email to you and DP and Mark every single week.
Yeah.
The Texans have been positive or even in takeaway, turnover differential, and they've only won 2 of those games this season. If they want to win, they've got to be +3 or better. They got to take the ball away 3 more times than they give it up. Perhaps you can do that. Perhaps you can drop Wentz a few times and squirt that ball loose. Perhaps you can pick him off. He's done it in the past, but they've been very good. The Colts, in their own right, at turnover differential, they're best in the league at. They're +12. So not to belabor the subject, but you got to get the ball from them.
No doubt. I mean, Carson Wentz will give you one of those, what was he thinking sort of plays, but you got to force it out of him. Force it out of him. If you're allowing him to just sit back there and throw the ball wherever he wants with time, he'll rip you apart. But if you get back there and compress as well, force him out of the pocket on the run, you got an opportunity to see one of those plays that could be a big one.
Always good to be with you, my friend. Thanks so
man.
much for coming
Absolutely.
on. We'll do it again very, very soon. Always great to be with you. We appreciate you watching. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. You're the greatest fans in the land. So thanks so much for checking us out. We'll be back next week, same place, same channel. And until then, go Texans.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.